Hello everybody, my name is KiMar Gartman and this is episode 3 of Cuppa with KiMar, Life in Short Sips. I'm excited today to tell you about a practice that my husband and I started only 2 weeks before he was diagnosed with stomach cancer. But it was a practice that really gave us a lot of strength and grace for the trials that laid ahead of us in 2020 through 2022 and beyond. So in 2020, my sister-in-law invited me to a spiritual retreat. The leader of this retreat said that every year she chooses a word that helps her to feel more grounded through the year and to be a little bit more focused. So I went home to my husband and I said, hey, you want to choose a word for 2020? And he said, sure. Being spiritual people, we went ahead and prayed about it. And we thought maybe the word accept or maybe the word welcome. But in the end, we chose the word embrace, because embrace means that you're welcoming something gladly and willingly. Little did we know that in 2020 we would be facing his diagnosis of stomach cancer and the chemo and the journey through that. But also COVID hit us in 2020, and we kept coming back to the word embrace. We need to embrace these trials. We need to find the good in them and welcome them, and we did, and we feel like we had a much stronger disposition as we went through those trials. In 2021 then, we chose the phrase, remain in the mystery. And we both were kind of perplexed by that, like, what do you suppose that's going to mean? But we both felt it on our hearts, and so we remained in the mystery in 2021, which was the year my husband went through a horrible, horrible motorcycle accident. Inside, I felt, you know what? I need to know why. Why did we have a whole year of stomach cancer followed by a whole year of dealing with this motorcycle accident? But I just kept coming back to that word, remain in the mystery. In other words, just put it on the table that says, I don't know, and keep moving forward, because someday it will become clear. Then in 2022, something strange happened. My husband and I have always been on the same page on most things, but in 2022, we both had different words or phrases for the year. So for me, my phrase was rest in his embrace, his meaning God. And I just felt I need to spend 2022, after going through stomach cancer and the motorcycle accident, 2022 is just going to be a year of resting in God's embrace. And I was looking forward to it. My husband, though, had the words unfold in his presence. And I questioned him. I'm like, don't you think it's rest in his embrace, not unfold? And he kept saying, no, KiMar, I really think that 2022 is a year for me to unfold in his presence. And I was like, okay. So we had 2 different words that year. But then my husband passed away from leukemia in April of 2022. And I know that he unfolded in the presence of God. And I started the grief journey by resting in the arms of my Heavenly Father. And then in 2023, I decided my word of the year was going to be courage. And I found an amazing definition of courage, which says that it is strength in the face of pain or grief. 2023 was probably one of my most difficult years to live. And I kept coming back to the word courage. I just need courage to get through this year. Once I got through 2023, then 2024 began. And I was feeling very strongly that I needed to quit my job and go on a sabbatical. Well, I'm single now. Quitting my job and going on a sabbatical is a pretty scary thing to do. But the word I got was follow his lead. Once again, follow God's lead. And I just felt in my spirit that the next step in my journey was to buy a one-way ticket to Ireland and go on a sabbatical. And so on April 28th, 2024, exactly 2 years after my husband died, I did exactly that. I bought a one-way ticket to Ireland. But it went through Iceland. So I went to Iceland, Ireland, Norway, and London and traveled all by myself for 9 weeks. And it was the most incredible healing trip that I've ever been on. But it was scary, and I had to just keep praying. I hope I'm hearing you right, and I'm going on this trip by your leading and not my own. And now we are in 2025. And the word I decided on for this year is inspired expansion. And I always do a little bit of a picture with it so that I can remember the word all through the year. And I found some pretty incredible definitions of inspired this year. One of them is drawing in breath. Another is facing things as they are and imagining what they could be, and transferring the supernatural into the natural. Pretty amazing, huh? So I wonder if you have any similar sort of practices that's helped you to feel more grounded or have more strength in your life by helping you to focus a little bit, like the word of the year. If you do, I'd love for you to include them in the comments below, or if you just have some thoughts about today's topic, that would be great. And when you're ready, I'll meet you in episode number 4, Cuppa with KiMar, Life in Short Sips.